Welcome to the CannaConversations blogcast, part video blog, part podcast, aimed to bridge the gap between the cannabis industry and the patients it serves. Join the ladies of Midwest Canna Concierge as they bring everyone to the table, from cultivation experts and dispensary staff to lawyers, doctors, and medical marijuana patients, to have open conversations around all things cannabis related.
All right. Well, hello again, Bianca. We are here today with Bianca from HighSocietyMama. It is so good to see you. It's been, 3 years now, I'm embarrassed to say, since we met at Ganja Yoga up in Detroit. So how have you been?
Oh, good. Keeping very busy.
Yeah.
We're at the farm and with HighSocietyMama and our growing community. Doing lots of clubhouse chats. I have High Society of Mamas, which is sort of the community that I'm building as a platform to help highlight other moms that are doing similar work that I am. And I can give you updates on society too.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to say,
wherever
so
you want to begin.
It's even been that long now since I came up to your hemp harvest, and it was quite an operation back then. So I imagine that it's even more now.
Yes, we had a great harvest this year, and it's been fun to grow our product line and our offering and be able
You guys,
to.
it's a whole family affair for you guys. Yeah.
It is definitely.
So it's you and your husband, and then you guys have your son that's there with you guys, right?
Yep. Tage is 6 now, and so he is very active, getting his hands dirty, loves to help. And
so how do you I have a 7-year-old, my nephews are 7, soon to be 4 and 1, and that's kind of a hard subject to broach. So how do you he's been raised around the plant his whole life, so it's probably pretty easy, but I'm sure that this is a question you get quite a bit with moms. How do you broach that topic with your children?
Yeah, so I definitely advise that earlier, the better, that you allow them to see the plant either as a whole plant, or, which is a great starting point. If you're allowed to grow your own, then that obviously makes it easier for them to see. But even if you're just consuming, beginning to speak with them about the plant, why you use it, what it does for you, and the safety around it, pertaining to why it's for adults only. As they progress and get older, then you can make that distinction between hemp and THC. But I always like to recommend that people start to bring it up as soon as possible, because it gets more challenging to influence them as they get older and as the school system starts to cover the topics more.
I was going to say, I know that once they're at school age, it's probably even harder, because they're hearing, I'm assuming what we have heard growing up, that it's a harmful drug, to stay away from it, all drugs are bad. So having to kind of teach, that's one side of the story.
Right. Yeah. So I also not necessarily hiding it from them. And because when we do hide it, that's when it starts to become this faux pas thing that they are like curious about, but they know it's something bad. And that's what we're trying to overcome. So allowing them to see it, but you can still lock up your products so that they're out of reach, out of being able to be accessed, but you don't have to hide it entirely.
Exactly. I think that that's something that a lot of people that are, even especially parents that aren't consumers, that end up, that carry a stigma about parents who do consume, that they think that it's just out and about for their kids to have access to. They're just like all willy-nilly about it, and just.
Right. And so we have these new smell-proof stash bags that are locking cases, and they're smell-proof, so you can keep your your goods all
It just
stashed
looks
away.
like a little clutch. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's so cute.
Yeah, this one's like a fake, like faux alligator, and this one's obviously leopard. So
That's so cute. I love that.
fun ways to.
And those are on your website, right? Because
They
I'll be linking.
are.
Oh, awesome. I was like, I'll definitely link to all your pages you have. So that's not an issue.
Yes, definitely.
I love it. And then you guys sell also your flour. I think you have carts available as well.
Yeah, so on Society's Plant, we have all of our artisanal hemp flour. We've expanded to also offering Delta 8 products. So we have Delta 8 gummies and Delta 8 flour. We have cartridges that are in CBD and Delta 8. And then we also offer teas. Those are really nice for those who enjoy sipping their cannabinoids. And then some different accessories and
I was gonna say your shirt's really cute too.
thank you. And a really fun extension that we came out with is now we have a line of mushroom tinctures.
Oh,
so
cool.
This one's Thrive. It has mushrooms and CBD. This one has like 12 mushrooms in it. And
so what are the benefits, if you don't mind me asking, what are some of the benefits that you're seeing with that?
So the mushrooms in general are, I like this one that has 12 in it is very comprehensive. That's like as much functional mushrooms as you can that are really out there and known. It's like covers pretty much all of them. So it's a lot of similar benefits that cannabis has, but can also, some of them help with like lowering blood pressure or with like inflammation or energy levels, or libido, anxiety.
I need to get on this bandwagon.
Right, combating stress. So I mean, it's very, they go really well hand in hand with CBD. Okay. So that's
perfect.
Nice.
So I know that your flour, because I've had flour shipped to me here in Ohio from your farm up in Michigan. Can your tinctures also be shipped across?
Yes, absolutely. And so the other ones that we have, let's cover that in a second. We have a chill tincture, which is mainly to like de-stress. And that one has mushrooms in it too that are more like calming effects and fight oxidative stress. And then we have our dream tincture to help. It like gives very like vivid dreams and helps you sleep more soundly. So that's a fun addition.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we have our raw hemp tincture, and this one has CBDA and CBD in it. So it and the benefits of CBDA are that they're like 10 times more bioavailable than CBD. So they really help with inflammation and anti-anxiety, and also have been known to be, or have been showing through the research that it is more effective at cancer, treating cancer. Cool.
Oh, good to know. Well, I call him my uncle. He's really a second cousin, but he is going through, he just had surgery, 2 different surgeries to remove tumors, and now he's going to be starting chemo and radiation. So that's good to know. I might have to send some to him out in California. That's awesome.
Yeah, so CBDA is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
And so the way that we get CBDA is from not heating the raw plant material. So when it goes through the heating process, it converts from the acidic form, like CBDA or CBGA, into its final form of CBD. And so it's you kind of think of it like juicing or going on a raw diet, and the benefits of that and how your body absorbs like the raw nutrients versus
versus the
cooked
activation.
vegetables.
Sure. Wow. That's really interesting to think about. I think I've heard of THCA. I've heard like the many studies that have come out claiming that it helps to fight off COVID. And I've actually recently, our dispensary has, they have they're like little pill tablets that are 5 milligrams of CBD and 5 milligrams of THCA. And they're just like a daily supplement that they're marketing it as, and everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. But it's good to hear about CBDA though, because I feel like that's not as well.
Yeah. And so our CBDA, the raw hemp, comes in the tincture or in soft gels. And I really like the soft gels to be able to just add them to your supplement routine so that, if you're taking a pill case or whatever, or if you're taking a number of pills, it's just part of that.
Part of your vitamins or part of your supplements. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your community that you're building, the High Society of Mamas.
Yeah. So I am very grateful for the platform that I have and that so many people follow me and relate with my content, but there's a lot of other moms out there doing very similar stuff that they are spreading the, similar messages. And I just wanted to be able to amplify everyone's voices to hopefully have it all reach farther and work together to normalize plant medicine. And my mission with High Society Mama is always to help mothers to build more confidence in their choice to consume cannabis. And so I believe that is further amplified by reaching a broader network of people and with more voices. And so when we come together and we're all working towards a similar goal, similar topics, we feed off each other, we come up with ideas off of each other's work, and it just helps to build community and allow others to share and grow their community.
Yeah, I love it because I see your videos all the time. I think it's so cool how like you do dance classes. You guys are always like having a great time and like really being empowering, not only as a mom or as a cannabis consumer, but as a female, as a woman in this world, just trying to make a little bit of light out of our chaos that is life. But it's really fun to see you build that out and have that tribe come together. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah. So you're up in your farm's like in Benton Harbor. Is that where I think I remember you saying? So up in Michigan, and then you also are in Chicago and around that area a lot too. So what do you guys have going on down in Chicago?
We have rental properties there, and we run a B&B. That's a cannabis friendly B&B, High Society B&B. And that
you guys were the first of that whole. It's
the first cannabis friendly B&B in Chicago.
We had gone to Chicago 3 or 4 days after they went rec, and for whatever reason I had it in my mind. We were there for like 24 hours. We went in to see Hamilton, and for whatever reason I had it in my head that I would be able to like get into a dispensary and like make a legal purchase. No. Right. No. But I do remember seeing shortly thereafter your guys' cannabis friendly Airbnb, and I was like, what a genius idea, because so often on regular Airbnb you see the no smoking, or we stayed in one in Colorado that wouldn't even allow us to use their patio space, and so it was like really strict about it. So it's
that's a continuous struggle for people when they're traveling. It's absolutely. So it's important to find and create spaces where people can consume.
Definitely. So, have you had really good success? I feel like it would be successful, but have you had good turnouts and people coming up there?
Yeah, we have.
That's awesome.
It's been really good. We have had the rental business running for a while, so we were pretty well set up, and making the transition to be cannabis friendly was very easy. So
that's awesome. Is there like extra, I mean, like, what's the risk? Is it just that people don't want to risk like the smell being in their property, or?
I mean, it's definitely the smell. And I mean, I've had lots of issues with it. I'm not going to say it's like a painless transition because it does affect your other business, which like Airbnb fills the bulk of the business. And so I've had like numerous complaints of the property or units smelling like cigarette smoke, and I have to like insist that it's cannabis, and it results in lots of refunds to people complaining, try to keep them happy, and lots of smell mitigation investments. So it has its challenges. I don't think that we have it all worked out as a community,
Do you think that people are like abusing it because it's just such a new like concept and idea? They probably come to Chicago.
We have very like, we're very strict about like no smoking blunts, and because the smell is just so much stronger. But it's really difficult when you're renting out a space and you're saying you're allowed to smoke. Then it's like, how do you regulate that? You don't have like, you're not checking every single thing that they're smoking when they're lighting up. So it's a tough one to like police.
That's because how do you, I mean, you other than like air filters or
I mean, I like the amount that I've invested in all of the like smell remediation is, I don't know that it actually outweighs the amount of new business that we've gotten from it. So
lesson learned, I suppose. Eventually there will be some kind of like odorless joint where, I don't know, somebody will come up with something to
I mean, it's like, you know, vapes are, you know, a great lower smelling alternative, but then again, they also pose the challenges of like a proper like having clean products that are being offered, and
it's kind of an investment. Like the carts in Chicago are not cheap. They are not an easy thing, and especially if people are coming in not having used, then they have to invest in a battery, then they have to think of all that. So I get that, but they are a lot less smelly.
Yes, exactly. But so it's tricky for sure.
So we met at Ganja Yoga. So are you still doing Ganja Yoga and kind of helping instruct? And I know you did like the whole training through the week. We just came up for the one class. So tell me about what you got going on with all that.
Yeah, so I have a online platform that I teach all of my classes through. It's Burn Fit Tribe and burnfittribe.com. And so I teach yoga classes. I have a burn groove yoga that is a little mix of, we sesh, and then we do a vinyasa flow that's infused with a little bit of extra groovy dancing movement. So and I also teach cardio dance classes and a class called Cardio Burn, which is a sort of intense cardio and muscle sculpting class using 1 pound weights.
On your platform?
Yes. Wow. And there's like over 200 pre-recorded videos that are on demand for $5 a month.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Why have I not known about this?
Yes.
Check this out.
Come for a class.
Yeah. My dogs will love it. I had to let them in because they were crying at the door. I tried to lock them out.
They had none of it.
No, did not work out. So I can't believe your son's 6 already. That's crazy.
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so he's been learning a lot more about and more interested in what it goes into creating content, because now he wants his own YouTube channel. And so
feasible. I don't put it past him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in years, but he was quite a character when I met him. So I would definitely see that.
Yeah, so it's been fun. He definitely gets being part of the content that we put out there, because we are a family run business. Our family is important to us. That's a big front facing part of it. I don't ask him to be in anything if he doesn't want to, but he often volunteers and is happy to do it. He understands that we are running a business, and that creating content and creating videos and stories is part of that.
Yeah.
And so he's been a wonderful contribution.
He is so cute. So does he ask questions? Does he question what you guys are making, or what it's growing, or how it helps, or what kind of questions is he asking at 6?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I feel like he has a very good understanding of
what about I guess, does he bring friends around, or other kids that are coming into it? And
I think that's always a bridge that I have to cross with other parents coming to our house, or other parents with kids that are around us. And as far as I'm concerned, it's part of us as human beings. It's our business, it's our well-being, and we are advocating to normalize it. And so while I'm very comfortable with the plant, I do ask people what their comfort level is before they come to our house with their kids, so that I have an understanding of how to approach it, because I never bring out any products or smoke in front of other people's kids if they are not comfortable with it. And Absolutely. So everyone at this point in the game is, at differing varying levels of comfort, and we have to be respectful of where other people are at. And it's kind of the only thing I can compare it to is if you were going to someone's house and they're a recovering alcoholic, and you are trying to bring something for a party, and it's would it be appropriate for me to bring a bottle of wine, or are you not comfortable with that? That's that's a question that is very well accepted at this point in time.
Sure.
But if you were going to anyone else's house that was not a recovering alcoholic, you wouldn't even think twice. You just show up with your bottle and be here's a bottle of wine. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And, we're not to that point yet with cannabis. And so it's it needs to be an ongoing conversation to educate other people, to open up the conversation for them to ask questions and learn more about why cannabis is part of your life, or why it's part of your household, or why it's something that you use. All of these are topics that we are constantly faced with right now. And it's important that as cannabis advocates that we are bringing these up and opening the door for more people to learn and ask questions as they feel fit.
Absolutely. I think that's a huge part of it is making everybody comfortable enough to feel that they can ask the questions, or that they can approach you about it, versus just being oh, well, they have plants at their house, or
right. Exactly. And so, some people have a sort of mentality that it's my medicine, I'll use it wherever I want to. And I think that we have to, we have to kind of meet people in the middle. We're not to that point yet.
Right.
So someday maybe we will be, but we're not right now.
And I think it's people having those, us having this conversation and putting that out there. I get that it's your right to medicate wherever and however you want to. However, you also have to keep in mind that if you want to be accepted, if you want to feel like a normal part of your crew or your society or whatever, you've got to meet them both ways. So.
Right, exactly. And that's part of what I think is really exciting about offering smokable hemp is, and also the line extensions that we've done at Society, to be able to meet people where they're at, depending on where they are in the country, what their comfort level is. A lot of people don't know how to smoke anything, because if you were raised during the, no smoking or like anti-tobacco sort of uprising, then and you never started smoking cigarettes as a teenager, and you don't have that familiarity of inhaling smoke, it's a tough bridge to cross. And so where I think we offer something a little bit different is that we have our tinctures, which are a great place to start with exploring CBD. But then once you want to try out actually smoking the flower in order to be able to have those immediate absorption, immediate effects of calming or getting rid of nausea without feeling the euphoric high, not everyone is consuming cannabis to get high. And so CBD in that sense offers this, unique proposition where it's like you can calm yourself, but still be focused and clear-headed. You can reduce your nausea, but still be, able to go to work and function
and the inflammation, helping to reduce inflammation, all
pain. Yeah. And so we came out with a new product that's our ready to roll, and it comes in this cute little tin. That's awesome. Yeah, and it's already pre-ground.
Oh my gosh, that is so smart.
And so you can just scoop it into your bowl, or if you're grinding up THC, then it's not like you don't have to have two grinders on hand to be able to grind them both. So it just sort of cuts down your time. But by introducing smoking to people with CBD, then they can start to get used to it, not be afraid that taking more than that, like one puff is just going to get them blitzed. And then once they start adding in THC, they can still blend this with it for finding that right blend of, the right ratio, the right level that works for them for what they need.
Yeah, I love that, because I think that especially in today's market, you see so many flowers out there, like they're hitting like 35 higher up.
It's getting crazy.
38% or something. And it's like, okay, that's one thing for a rec market, but there will always be the medical patient. There will always be the patient that still is just looking to balance their systems. And I think that we're seeing CBD flowers in the dispensaries being phased out because they're not the high sellers. They're not the ones that are flying off shelves. And so cultivators are producing the higher THC because that's what sells. But by you guys supplying this CBD that they can either consume on its own or mix into this high THC strain that they picked up from the dispensary, I think that's huge. I think that that's something that a lot of people don't even ever think about.
And what I think really makes us stand out from a lot of the other companies, because there's no shortage of CBD brands out there, even CBD flower, but we're very transparent about, our growing methods, who we are. We have a lot of pride around the integrity and the quality of the products that we bring to market. And so I think, that's an important component when choosing any of your CBD products or hemp products, or even Delta 8, there's a lot of people just white labeling, smacking labels on stuff. And so it's important to know where your product's coming from.
Yeah, and it's not regulated. I think that by you guys, with, like, I follow all your socials, I'm always following you guys along, but by you guys being so transparent with that process, with your, it's a family run business. You guys are sourcing it from basically your backyard. Everything's coming from your backyard. Like you guys are very, very consistent with what you're doing and what you grow, what you provide. And I think that that's where you guys stand out, because a lot of these companies, you're right, they just smack the label on there because they're not regulated like a lot of these other places. And CBD is such a hot topic right now that, I mean, like for a while it was in family video, you could get it at the gas stations. And I think that that's something a lot of people don't understand, is not all CBD is created equally. Not it doesn't all come from reputable, safe places. So I think that that's something that you guys do really well, is showing that you take pride in the product that you're growing and what you provide for patients.
Yes, exactly.
Love it. So what do you guys have going on coming up in 2022, now that we're a quarter of the way through it?
We have some new products coming out. I'm not going to say what they are just yet. Okay. But some more mushroom items and mushroom CBD. And then we're still debating on the new strains that we're going to grow this year. Yeah. So we'll see what we land on in our agreement.
Do you have like, is there ones that you're choosing from, or?
Yeah. So it's an ongoing process, seeing what strains and what seeds really work well with our terroir. I think that's more of a wine term, but I'll use it for this. Terroir is like the makeup of the soil and the climate, and so I think it applies here.
It works for me. I'm glad that you explained what it was, though, because I would have definitely looked it up.
Yeah, so terroir is usually like the wine growing climate that makes it unique. Sure. And so it's very similar to the way that you get certain grapes that grow really well in certain regions. The cultivation of hemp is not as far along as the cultivation of THC, but where they have started sort of testing out what the right climate is for the different cultivars, they find certain ones are definitely happier growing in different areas. And we're very fortunate in Southwest Michigan. We have this microclimate that is unique from the rest of Michigan because we're so close to the lake. And so we get a different sort of set of weather that we're working with. And the soil is very sandy, and so it's a little bit different than what it is elsewhere. And so a strain that grows great in Colorado might not still grow quite as well for us, but some of the Oregon strains,
ones that do well with a little less sunlight.
Yeah.
We have a lot of gray skies around here, so.
You're right. Yep. So
you guys, but you can't grow all season or all year, right? You have certain seasons that you're able to grow.
Yeah. So we're just going into the growing season now and making our final decisions on what we're going to grow and which ones we want to repeat and which ones we want to try new. And it's just
such a hard choice.
It's such a hard choice because the time frames for it, it only comes once a year. And so it's you can test growing the plants indoors, but you're not going to have the same experiences the way it's going to grow outdoors. So it's you really don't have a chance to test it until the next season. So
that's tough.
There's usually a few strains that are our core focus, and then if some extra ones that are a little bit more experimental.
For sure. which is fun though, because then you can kind of learn if they can make the list for the next year.
Exactly. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Only other thing I have listed is if you wanted to chat on your thoughts on using cannabis while pregnant, or using CBD or hemp, or what you talk. But I've seen you share things, and I've seen you address the topic of like breastfeeding moms using it and different things like that. So kind of how do you walk that line? I'm sure you've had women that have reached out during pregnancy and are like, well, help, what do I do? What is your advice?
Absolutely. So as it pertains to pregnancy, obviously I'm not a medical professional, so these are just my personal opinions. I don't necessarily think that cannabis is all that harmful as much as it's made out to be. However, I like to advise people to use caution and only use cannabis while pregnant if they know what they're using it for. Like if they're using it to treat something that otherwise they would be using a pharmaceutical to treat. And then secondly, if they are using cannabis or choosing to use cannabis, I always recommend starting with the hemp side, because say CBDA is 10 times more bioavailable, and it also does not have the THC that we don't know the effects of THC on a developing brain. So there is some extent of a risk that you're taking when using it. So if you could treat the same symptoms using CBD or CBDA, such as nausea, which is one of the top reasons that women will use cannabis while pregnant, then you've already you can treat your nausea with it and not be using a high amount of THC. And so it really comes down to, how much THC you're putting in your body and how frequently and in what dose and what frequency. And so it's a tough decision to narrow down, and I try to bring as much information as I can to people, but the challenges of that science is that it's been combined with a lot of other substances, such as other controlled drugs or alcohol or nicotine, and when those are combined together, it is going to have a very negative effect. And so there's not that many studies that just look at the use of cannabis, but the ones that have come out are not that concerning. And so you have to weigh what the benefit is for you as an individual with your circumstances and what your alternatives would be if you chose not to use cannabis. What other thing would you use? Would you just tough it out? Would the effects be so much worse that it's worth taking on that risk? And it's like, as a general statement, it's really challenging to say, what that amount is. But exactly. I say, start low, go slow, use the minimum dose to treat the symptom that you're trying to use it for, and start with CBD or CBDA and see if that does the trick.
I was going to say, I love that recommendation of starting with the hemp and the CBD first, because I don't think many people realize that a lot of those same benefits that you get from the regular, like just the full-on cannabis plant with the THC and everything, I don't think people realize that a lot of that really comes from the CBD and hemp side of that. So it's a really great place to start anyway.
Right. And I hear it so often that people are like, well, I was so nauseous. If I didn't smoke, I couldn't keep food down. I'm like, but you can smoke CBD and not have the large amount of THC. Mm-hmm. That totally works.
Absolutely.
I mean, the results of smoking CBD for nausea are just as good, if not better, than smoking.
Yeah. And now with the CBDA and it being even more readily available and able to help even quicker than what they would get otherwise, I think that's that's a big deal. I feel like we need to scream that loud and proud that that's
I know, right?
available.
I know. Sometimes I feel bad because I feel like I'm like promoting my own product too much, but I'm like, this is something I really believe in. And I know that it
so
can
many
help
people
people.
can benefit.
Yeah. And so I've tried to put aside my hesitations to just keep screaming it.
Absolutely. I would definitely keep doing that. Well, thank you again for being on. I don't know if there's anything that you want to plug that you have coming up in the next couple of weeks or months, if you have any events or anything going on.
Ooh, I don't think so.
No,
but yeah, no, I'm good. But
no, you're good.
Check out all the links. I'm sure will be here.
They will. I will link to everything in the show notes and on the post. So thank you again. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing what else you guys got coming out this year.
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. We'll chat and catch up again soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this Canna Conversation. To learn more, please follow us on Instagram at Midwest_Canna-Concierge. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen, so other Canna curious folk can find us. We really appreciate your support.